Welcome to Barbecue Recipe Reviews, where each week we compare barbecue recipes and techniques and rate them. This week we're looking at rubs. I picked 4 pretty standard rubs out of my cabinet, 2 of which from the local store, 2 of which I ordered on Amazon. I selected these 4 because in the scale from sweet to spicy, these all kind of fall right in the middle. So let's compare them and rate them. All right, we got a Weber smoking rub, we got Jack Daniel's pork rub, we got special shit from Big Cøck Ranch, and we got Bad Byron's butt rub. Okay, I know what you're all thinking. This is a barbecue channel on YouTube. Where's Malcolm Reed from How to Barbecue Right's Killer Hog the Barbecue Rub? Why is that not on the list? Well, easy answer. 1, I'm out. I've used it quite a bit. I love it. Malcolm Reed, you make some good stuff. I've ordered some more, just hasn't arrived yet. And we have a competition coming up this weekend, so we got to figure out what's best with what we got. When it comes in, maybe we'll put the winner of this one up against that. Okay, let's continue. Okay, now let's meet the rubs. Number 1, Bad Byron's butt rub. Onion, garlic, salt, paprika, 61 cents an ounce, pretty standard stuff. A little bit of chipotle in there. Number 2, we got Jack Daniel's pork rub, the only one specific in this list for pork, 71 cents an ounce. Next on the list, Weber smoking rub, all around smoke flavor, cheapest on the list at 39 cents an ounce. And finally, we got Big Cøck Ranch special shit. At a whopping $1.95 an ounce, it's by far the most expensive one we're looking at. Now what are we going to be testing these with? These St. Louis style spare ribs. These are Smithfield, extra tender, extra meaty, simple Walmart style ribs, nothing fancy here. All right, to prep these guys, we're gonna go ahead and pull off that membrane. These ribs happen to have a lot of excess fat and meat on them still, so we're gonna go ahead and trim those up just so we can get a nice square, even cook. We're gonna remove that breastplate and the cartilage on both ends and trim up some of the fat off the top there. Next, we're going to go ahead and salt these ribs. I like to salt them for about a half hour before rubbing them to draw some of that moisture out, as you can see here. Salt does a real good job of drawing the moisture to the surface. You don't want that in your ribs. Next, we're going to go ahead and just chop these up. We're going to do 4 equal size chunks so that we can test out 4 different rubs. Time to start rubbing. I like to use a little mustard as a binder. You can use olive oil, whatever else you want. I like mustard because it makes it easy to see the spots I haven't hit with the rub yet. As you can see, each one of these is clearly marked, and I'm just going to hit them with the appropriate rubs. Obviously, with pork ribs, you want to hit them with a generous coating. And we're going to go ahead and let them rest. This is what they look like right away. And while they're sitting here, let's go fire up the cooker. Alright, today we're going to be using the Camp Chef Smoke Pro pellet smoker with some apple wood. Using this today to get a nice even smoke and burn throughout the cook. Now these guys have rested for about 30 minutes. Let's take a closer look and see how this rub's absorbing. On the butt rub, we're getting some good bark, some good absorption. Pretty interesting color. It's a much lighter color. Special shit, much bigger bark, bigger chunks. Weber smoking is doing a great job of drawing out some moisture. It's a much finer rub. And even more so with the Jack Daniel's, it's doing a lot of moisture drawing and pooling up. Now the cooker is fired up, resting at about 225. Time to get these guys on. Now these ribs are going in the same exact spots as they were on the butcher paper. Keep track. For about an hour and a half, I'm going to hit them with a little bit of apple cider vinegar and water, just to keep them nice and moist. We're also going to go ahead and rotate them for the sake of science so that each piece gets equal coverage and smoke. Alright, it's been about 2.5–3 hours. These guys have absorbed as much smoke as I want, and they're looking pretty good. Let's take a closer look at what each one looks like. Time to wrap.
Hey, yo.
Not that kind of wrap. This kind. For these ribs, I'm going to go competition style on the wrap. Put down a bed of brown sugar, a little bit of parquet, and a little honey for the money. You know this. And now each rib's just going to get wrapped up in this butcher paper. I prefer to use butcher paper because it lets it breathe a little bit. Foil kind of gets it tends to boil a little bit. I just find butcher paper works a little bit better. So here we go. Each rib's going in its own wrap, and I'm labeling them all so we can keep track. Now they're going to go back on the smoker for a couple more hours, get them nice and tender. Same orientation as before. Alright, it's been about an hour and 45 and they're getting right where I want them. So now I'm just going to unwrap each one and take a look at what we got. One thing to note is things like bone pullback and tenderness aren't really affected by the rub. They're just because they're from different parts of the rib. So here's what each one looks like. If we were doing dry ribs, we'd be done right about here. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and hit them with a little bit of sauce. This is a Heinz Memphis sauce. It's got some decent flavor. And since I'm doing competition this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and do these wet just to see how the rub affects the flavor on some wet ribs. While I don't show it here, I do rub the bottoms with some sauce as well. Okay, the sauce is set for about 30 minutes. And here's what they look like. Now let's get a closer look. Alright, time to slice these guys up. They've rested for about 20 minutes. Going just for nice, even cuts. And we'll just grab one and take a quick peek, see how tender they are, see what kind of smoke ring we got, and how juicy they all are. Okay, and here we have, it's time to do a taste test. Let me get my peeps. Alright, so everyone was instructed to take a bite of each and rank them 1 through 4, 1 being the best, 4 being the worst. I know it's not necessarily scientific to have them labeled and to show it. Probably should have done a blind test, but none of these peeps have any loyalties to any of these brands, and usually I have no idea which ones I'm using anyway, but it's something good to remember for next time. Also, no one was instructed to write their name next to their score, but they did it anyway. Alright, now it's time to tally up the numbers. We're looking for the lowest number here since we're doing rank scoring. And in last place, with 19 points, we have Big Cøck Ranch Special Shit. In third place, Bad Byron's Butt Rub, and Jack Daniels in a close second, and the number 1, Weber Smoke and Rub. Alright, here they are in order of taste. Let's take a look at appearance. In this case, I'm going to have to give it to either the Jack Daniels or Bad Byron's Butt Rub. Good looking dry, pretty good looking wet as well. Special Shit, probably a good third place right there. And actually, the Weber Smoking, in my opinion, kind of looks the worst. Did a lot of clumping and it drew up a lot of moisture in certain areas where the rub was a little heavy. Now let's look at cost. Again, they're ranked in order of taste, and surprisingly the cheapest at 39 cents an ounce, Weber came in first place, followed by Jack Daniels at 71 cents and Butt Rub at 61. The Special Shit at $1.95 an ounce is completely a ripoff. Alright, so there we have it. Who'd have thought that the cheapest over-the-counter everyday run-of-the-mill Weber would come out on top in taste. Now, necessarily in appearance, but in my opinion, taste matters a little bit more. What do you guys think? What do you think of their appearances? Please comment below. And also, this is going to be the first of many comparison and reviews. So please, if you have any recommendations and or any suggestions for comparisons you want to see put to the test, throw a comment below. And always subscribe so you get notified when we update with new videos. Cheers, everybody. Happy barbecuing.